Hello everybody, it's Dio from Firm But Fair Gaming bringing you another video. Enjoying all the videos and content we produce, don't forget to click on that subscribe button, click on that like button, and don't be afraid to share. Don't forget to click on the notification button, customize it however you want, but that way you're notified whenever we publish another video. Hello everyone, welcome to another Diablo 3 video here for season 27. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody that's joined me on Twitch. It's been a lot of fun chatting and playing with you guys, and we're almost at affiliate, so thank you everybody for joining me and for following. It's been a lot of fun, really have been enjoying it. Hope to see more of you out there, so please join me on Twitch. The link's in the description. Would love to see you there and do some runs with you. It's been a hell of a lot of fun. So the reason we've all gathered here is we're going to talk about speeds and Paragon farming. So basically, if for those that aren't familiar with speeds, the idea is you want to do as high of a GR as possible and as quick as possible to maximize your experience potential. You see it all the time in seasonal play, where they're advertising rat runs, like here in season 27, they're using the Demon Hunter, the Impaled Demon Hunter with the Shadow's Mantle, and they're running through like 120s or whatever it would be. And the idea is to do it in like 2.5 minutes or less. And so what I've done, because from talking to other players, there's been some debate as to what is the true maximizing of potential here for rifts. Like, what about if I do a 140? How fast do I need to do that in order to gain more experience than what is being done in the 120 level? So I've taken the liberty, I had some time, I crunched the numbers. So let's jump into it and I'll show you exactly what it looks like for both solo and group play, how fast you need to run dungeons, greater risks in order to maximize your Paragon, your experience potential. So without much more rambling, let's look at the numbers. All right, so first off, we have the greater rift level running along the bottom. We have the amount of times it takes to complete the rift in seconds, as well as the XP. So that is in orange, and then we got the XP in blue. So started off with a 110 level. Basically, the time for that was 90 seconds. Basically figuring anything lower than that, you're probably going to do about in the same time frame. And this is about the level that speeds start. So in a four-man group, assuming you start with the 110 and you can run it in 90 seconds, the experience for that is 3.51 trillion. Now, if you're running higher than that and the same amount of time, obviously it's going to be more experience than what this is, but you're just going to have to extrapolate that in your mind. So if you're doing a 120 in 90 seconds, then the same logic is going to apply for all of these. So basically in the early levels here, and then we got a 111. So this is like in 93 seconds to get more experience. And then a 112 is about 98 seconds. So like almost a minute 40 and so on and so forth. So the big points here that were noticeable. So if we were running a 110 and 90, we needed to run a 120 in 215. And obviously, like, we're getting slightly more experience as we go here because we're going up, and with that combined with speed, like these are the optimal numbers in which, like, I basically looked at it and said, how fast do you have to do the next level of GR to get more experience? And so this is kind of the calculation that I went with, and going through, I was using the experience calculator from Max Roll, and this is what I did for all the rifts all the way through. So yeah, so in a 120, we're about 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and that we're up to almost 4 trillion XP. A 125, we got up to almost 3 minutes, but that was going to yield us 4.3 trillion. So what I found curious about this is I was running 140s in about 5 minutes, and I was like, is a 140 in 5 minutes more effective than running 120s in about 2.5? And so the 120 at let me get on, actually 120 was just under 4, but we had to run it in 2.5. But then in the 140, we're running it in 3 minutes, or sorry, just over 5 minutes here if you could, and you're yielding 5.33 trillion. So that is just for, for the experience there. So we're 5.3 versus the 4, so we're gaining a 1.3 trillion more XP in the same amount. So this is all XP per hour. the amount of time it takes to do the run is irrelevant because, so to speak, because it's an hour of your time regardless. So the big difference is going to be is like, down here when we're doing 120s, we're going to be doing a lot more of them per hour than we're doing the 140s. So if you're looking for legendary farm over XP, then you're going to want to run the 120. But if you're just looking for XP, then if you can do the 140s in like 5 minutes or less, then it's more beneficial. So again, this is on the incremental level of figuring out like what level you had to do the next GR to progress in XP and all that. So this isn't to look at the calculation. Okay, well, what's the time that I need to do the 140 in order to just beat the 120? This is the optimal, like if you can do this in X amount of time, at what point should you, like if you're speeding through something, at what point should you move to the next level? And then, of course, when we get all the way up to looking at the 150, so we have more time. So the 150 would be 5.7 trillion XP if you can do that in just under 500 seconds, so just under 10 minutes, then it is worth more XP. So if you're able to do them in 10 minutes, then it's more XP than the 149, and so on and so forth. So that was for the 4-man group. So it's pretty similar on the, if you wanted to do it solo, because I know there's a lot of solo found people that play, or just people that like to play solo. So the big difference here is like we're going to just start with 3.1 trillion XP doing the 110s in 90 seconds. A 120 is going to be 3.5. And then, of course, up here at the 150, you're just getting 5 trillion, whereas when we were on the 4-man, we are going to be getting 5.7. So that's just the extra bonus that you get from being in a group versus being solo, but it's kind of the same thing as you go along. Time-wise, you just got to be, you can be slightly slower as you progress to the next rift, but you can't be dramatically slower. So a lot of these, when we're moving from one to the next, like in the early stages here, we're talking the difference in between 10 seconds, or in the later stages, we're getting more like 15 to 20 seconds, with a little bit more as we get when we're up in the high end here, we're getting more towards 20 to 30 seconds between levels that you can kind of have that luxury. So down here, very few, like, we're talking 3 to 5 seconds, and you get 5 to 10, 10 to 15, so on and so forth. Because obviously speed is of the necessity, because the XP that we're getting here is more from the bonus of closing the rift and completing it than we are from actually killing all the monsters. Like the bonus XP is the big difference at the end here. So when we were looking at all those XP numbers, they are based on not having any pools. Pools really don't come into play until you're higher than 2500 Paragon. And then once you get up to, I believe it's almost 3K, then becomes where it's more valuable to actually go looking for a pool than it is to run a greater rift. So once you get up in those levels where you see all those big guys with the 4 and 5,000 Paragon, it is more beneficial to them to go look for a pool, assuming they don't die, of course, because as soon as you die, you lose it. So it's more beneficial for them to go find a pool and then run a greater rift than just jumping into another rift. And that's just because of how long a pool lasts for them. But if they're going to die, then it's not worth it, because then you're just wasting time. And just a reminder for everybody that's unfamiliar with pools, a pool gives you 25% bonus XP, because as you can see here, I have a couple on my person. So my bonus pool remaining is 56 billion. Experience gains increased by 25%, etc. So we can store up to 10 pools at one time. So you'd be good for 2.5 levels. And then of course over time you eat away with it, then you would just go and get another pool. And if you die, if you go and farm 10 and then you die, you lose all of them. So you kind of get them as a need basis, unless you're 100% sure you're not going to die. Then you could spend the time to farm up to 10 and then go about using them all up. But again, that's more of a big Paragon play when you're around 3K. If you're below 2,500, it's really not worth it. So yeah, it's like a 3K thing where you want to do. So this is all I wanted to get into for this video, just to explain the numbers, because I know some people had been asking me, and I've been having the discussion with a few people I was playing with as well. So I just thought I'd share what I found and my learnings from it. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know below. If you disagree with my math and you want to get into it, I'd be happy to discuss it over Twitch, or if you leave a comment, I'll happily get into it there. So yeah, I'd be happy to hear what everybody else thinks and what they prefer. Like, do you think it's worth running the 140 in 5 minutes, or do you just think the 120 is just better, easier? Obviously, the 140 is a little bit more challenging because it's going to take longer, but you can think of the extra XP as well as the additional gem level ups you get. You could create higher augments, all that stuff. Anyways, be happy to have a chat with you on Twitch in the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking. As always, I appreciate it. Like, shares, and subscribe. So please click those buttons. Also, come join me on Twitch. It's been hell of a lot of fun playing with all you guys and chatting with you. So come check it out there. So that's it for me. So until next time, I hope you're enjoying Diablo 3 Season 27.